She submitted 43 pages of original research. Every single citation was copy-pasted from a paper published the year before she was born. Stick around because story 2 is the craziest one on this list. I trusted my insurance agent with 12 years of premiums. He trusted me to never read the fine print. My name is Darren Holt. I'm a 44-year-old warehouse operations manager in a mid-sized town in Ohio. For over a decade, I paid an agent named Walt Presley roughly $280 a month for a business liability policy that was supposed to cover my small storage facility. Walt was friendly, always had coffee ready, always laughed at my jokes. I thought we had a real relationship. Last spring, a water pipe burst in Bay 3 of my facility and damaged a tenant's equipment. About $47,000 worth of industrial tools. I filed a claim immediately. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. My policy had lapsed. According to the insurer, Crestline Mutual, I had requested a policy cancellation in writing 14 months earlier. I had requested no such thing. I had every bank statement showing continuous monthly payments right up until that week. I called Walt. He said it was a clerical mix-up and promised to sort it out. He stalled for 6 weeks with vague emails and rescheduled calls. My tenant was threatening to sue. I was paying out of pocket for emergency repairs. I decided to stop waiting and start digging. I submitted a formal records request to Crestline Mutual directly, bypassing Walt entirely. What came back made my stomach drop. There was a signed cancellation letter on file, dated 14 months ago, with my signature at the bottom. Except I'd never signed it. I pulled every document I had ever signed for Walt. My original policy agreement, my annual renewal forms, my riders. I laid them all out on my kitchen table and photographed each signature side by side. Then I took them to a certified document examiner named Gloria Fitch. She spent 3 days reviewing the samples. Her conclusion was unambiguous. The signature on the cancellation letter did not match my handwriting. The pen pressure was different, the letter spacing was inconsistent, and the loop on the lowercase r in my last name was written in a style I never use. She put it in a 12-page notarized report. I brought the report to a consumer protection attorney named Sandra Ives. She immediately recognized what had likely happened. Walt's agency had been pocketing my premiums while canceling the policy on the back end, keeping the money rather than forwarding it to Crestline Mutual. The fake cancellation letter covered his tracks. Sandra filed a complaint with Ohio's Department of Insurance and initiated a civil suit against Walt and his agency. The state launched its own investigation within 10 days. Within 6 weeks, they had pulled his client records and found 4 other policyholders with nearly identical forged cancellation letters, all in the same policy year. Walt's license was suspended pending criminal charges. Crestline Mutual, once shown the forged letter, reinstated my policy retroactively and paid the full $47,000 tenant claim. My attorney secured an additional $31,000 in damages for bad faith handling. Walt is currently awaiting trial. I drink my own coffee now. That insurance scam was bold. But this next story takes it all the way to a university campus, and trust me, you will not see the twist coming. She submitted 43 pages of original research. Every single citation was copy-pasted from a paper published the year before she was born. My name is Priya Okafor. I'm 26, a graduate teaching assistant in the sociology department at a mid-sized state university in the Pacific Northwest. I worked 2 years on my master's thesis. Real fieldwork, real interviews, real late nights. My thesis advisor, Professor Claudia Marsh, had been my biggest champion since day one of the program. In March, I submitted my completed thesis to the Departmental Review Board for final approval. 1 week later, I got a notification that my submission had been flagged for a conflict of interest review. No details, just a hold. My advisor told me not to worry, and these holds happen all the time. She said she would handle it, but nothing happened for 3 weeks. Then I got an email from the dean's office informing me that a competing thesis had been submitted by a doctoral candidate named Felicity Brand, a student directly under Professor Marsh's supervision. Felicity's thesis topic was nearly identical to mine. Methodology, framing, even the regional focus area. I requested a copy of Felicity's submission through the department's open access protocol. What I found was stunning. Entire paragraphs from my literature review appeared word for word in her introduction. My original interview framework was reproduced with only the column headers changed. Her bibliography listed sources I had assembled, many of them obscure regional reports I personally tracked down. I went to the university's academic integrity office and filed a formal complaint. While that review was pending, I kept digging. My thesis had gone through 3 draft rounds with Professor Marsh over 18 months. I had every track changes document, every version with her comments still embedded in the margins. Timestamps intact. Those timestamps told a clear story. My Chapter 3, the one most heavily duplicated in Felicity's submission, had been reviewed by Professor Marsh in October. Felicity's thesis was submitted in February. When I cross-referenced the university's server logs, which the Integrity Office was able to pull, my draft had been accessed from Professor Marsh's faculty login 3 days before Felicity's submission date. That detail changed everything. The review board expanded the investigation beyond Felicity to include Professor Marsh herself. Within 2 weeks, a second finding emerged. Felicity had submitted a forged faculty endorsement letter for a departmental research grant, a letter that bore Professor Marsh's name but had been written without her knowledge, apparently to cover the paper trail of their collaboration. The irony was almost too much. Felicity had forged a letter to protect a scheme built on stolen work, and that forged letter is what gave the board enough cause to pull the full communication records between her and Professor Marsh. Those records showed Marsh had sent Felicity my draft directly and coached her on reframing it. Professor Marsh was placed on immediate administrative leave and faces a faculty conduct hearing. Felicity's thesis was rejected and she was dismissed from the doctoral program. My thesis was approved with commendation. I also received a written apology from the department chair and was offered a funded fellowship for the following academic year. I still can't quite believe the forged letter is what unraveled the whole thing. Academia's got nothing on this last one. A neighbor with a fake county seal and a flooding yard that turned into an $18,000 lesson. For 3 years, I watched my neighbor build a fence. Then I found out the permits were fiction. My name is Ruth Calloway. I'm 61 years old and I've lived in the same house in a quiet Tennessee suburb for over 2 decades. 3 years ago, my neighbor Gerald Finch started a big landscaping project, a 6-foot privacy fence, a retaining wall, and a small outbuilding he called a garden shed. It all looked professional. Permitted work happens all the time. I didn't think twice. The problem started when my yard began flooding. Every time it rained heavily, water pooled along my back fence line and seeped toward my foundation. I had never had drainage issues before. After the second season of this, I called a civil engineer named Bart Hollis, who walked my property and immediately pointed to Gerald's retaining wall. It had redirected natural drainage flow directly onto my lot. Bart told me the wall's angle and height looked non-standard. He asked if I had ever seen the county permit documentation for it. I hadn't. I went to the county planning office and submitted a records request for all permits associated with Gerald's address over the past 4 years. The clerk was back within 15 minutes. There were none. No fence permit, no retaining wall permit, no outbuilding permit, nothing. When I mentioned this to Gerald directly, he laughed and pulled out a laminated sheet of paper he called his approved site plan. It had a county seal on it and a permit number. It looked official, but the clerk had just told me his address had 0 filings. Something was wrong. I photographed Gerald's laminated permit and brought it back to the planning office. The clerk ran the permit number. It came back as a filing for a commercial property in a different zip code, a hardware warehouse on the other side of the county. The seal on Gerald's copy had the right graphic but the wrong embossed texture. It was a convincing forgery, but it was still a forgery. The planning office escalated the matter to the county's Code Enforcement Division. An inspector visited within a week. He confirmed the retaining wall violated setback requirements by almost 3 feet. The outbuilding exceeded the size allowed without a structural permit, and the fence height was above the residential maximum for that zone. Every single structure was non-compliant. Gerald was issued a formal violation notice and given 60 days to either bring the structures into compliance or remove them. He chose to fight it. His attorney sent a letter claiming the county's own permit office had misfiled his application. The county responded by pulling all digital submission logs. No application from Gerald's address had ever been entered into the system. Meanwhile, Bart's drainage report supported my civil claim for property damage. The flooding had caused measurable harm to my foundation. Repair estimates came in at just under $18,000. With the forged permit now part of the public record, Gerald's insurance carrier denied his liability coverage, citing fraud in the underlying construction. Gerald ultimately had to remove the retaining wall and rebuild it to code at his own expense. He also settled my property damage claim for $18,500 to avoid a full civil trial. The county referred the forged permit to the district attorney's office for review. A laminated piece of paper with a fake county seal turned out to be the most expensive landscaping decision Gerald ever made. Follow the channel so you never miss a new compilation. We drop a fresh one every single week. Follow for a new compilation every week.